Hello and welcome to Planet 40k. In today's video we're going to be reviewing the Predator Annihilator and the Predator Destructor from the Space Marine Codex. Before we begin guys, just a quick message to everyone that's already subscribed to the channel. Do me a favour and click the notification bell below and have that turned on. YouTube's algorithm is a bundle of fun, so we'll appreciate it if you click through with the notifications. It's a huge help to the channel. Okay, so we're going to run both of these reviews today side by side as they're very similar units with a few differences. Starting off with both of the costs, which both are 8 power level, however the Annihilator is 130 points, whereas the Destructor is 140. That's before any weapon options have been paid for, so this will likely change. Keywords of note, now they share the chapter keyword along with the smokescreen keyword, and both of course are vehicles. Both tanks also share the same stat line, which is movement 12 inch, weapon skill 6+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 6, toughness 7, wounds 11, attacks 3, leadership 8 and 3+ save. Both are also degradable, so once your tanks are below 5 wounds, they're going to half their movement to 6 inches, drop a single point in ballistic skill, and also their attacks will drop to D3. Then once down to only 2 wounds or less, you're going to half that movement again to only 3 inches. That ballistic skill will now be at a 5+ and the attacks would be just 1. Both tanks also got the same 2 basic abilities, Angels of Death. Now from the 4 rules within that ability, only Combat Doctrines is really worth talking about here. Getting the extra -1 AP weapon to your heavy weapons, which will be in the Devastator Doctrine, which is turn 1. Then possibly Shock Assault at a desperate push, getting an extra attack if you were charged or did make a charged move. The other ability is Explodes, which is if your tank is destroyed on a roll of a 6+, it'll explode and all units within 6 inches will suffer D3 mortal wounds. Okay, basic stuff out of the way, let's talk weapon loadout, starting off with the Destructor. A Predator Destructor is equipped with the Predator Autocannon. Now there are extra weapons that you can pay for that we'll go over in a moment. So the Predator Autocannon, it's got a 48 inch range, heavy 2d3, it's strength 7, -1 AP and the damage is 3. So a fantastic range at 48 inches, and the amount of shots you'll average 4 for every shooting phase, with obviously the potential of 6. Strength 7 gives you the versatility of shooting both elite infantry as well as vehicles and monsters. -1 AP is okay and it does become -2 AP in turn 1 with the Devastator Doctrine, but the eye opener here is the damage being a flat 3, so there's no messing around here with any D3, it's just a flat 3, which is pretty reliable. The weapon will score you around 1.8 wounds against toughness 4 models on average, so it's not likely to kill a 3 wound model in terms of averages. However, I would always say averages are not as clear cut as dice, as a single wound that is unsaved here is causing 3 wounds, not an average which is 2.7. So it should kill a model with 3 wounds without an invuln such as an Eradicator perhaps. Against a toughness 7 vehicle, you're more likely to score an unsaved wound than not. There's actually 67% chance of a wound being unsaved here, and this increases in turn 1 to 89%, which is very likely to be putting 3 damage on that vehicle. Now looking at the potential upgrade choices, there are 4, although 2 of them are actually lumped together as one. So the first one is the model can be equipped with the following, either 2 heavy bolters or 2 las cannons. You can also add a hunter killer missile, and then you can also add a storm bolter. So the first choice is the 2 heavy bolters or 2 las cannons. Now these are going to be 15 points per heavy bolter and you will need to pay for both. They've got a range of 36 inches, they're heavy 3, strength 5, -1 AP and the damage is 2. So 36 inches is still a decent range, and 6 shots with ballistic skill 3 will net you an average of 4 hits. Versus toughness 4 infantry, you only need 3s to wound, so you're going to average 2.7 wounds before armor saves there. Versus toughness 5, it's bang on 2 wounds on average, and any tougher than that it's going to be 1.3. -1 AP is okay, and again it will become -2 AP in turn 1. The damage being 2 should be really fired against elite infantry or space marine infantry, which are almost the same nowadays. Now as the strength is not high enough for vehicles and monsters, I'd not fire it at them, it's not effective enough, so stick to the infantry models. The las cannons on the other hand are 20 points each, so that will set you back 40 points in total. They've got a 48 inch range, heavy 1, strength 9, -3 AP and the damage is D6. Really nice range here, matching the autocannon's range. It's only 1 shot each, but it is strength 9 and wounding almost everything on 3s. -3 AP is all you really need, and in turn 1 it's a -4 AP, which is only leaving invuln saves. The slight issue here is the damage being D6, which is very unpredictable. Now you will average 1.3 hits from the 2 shots. Going at toughness 4, you're going to get 1.1 wounds, and like we mentioned, they'll either be on a 6+ armor save or require invuln saves. And then it's all up to that D6 to do its thing. So it can punish a Terminator model, even a Death Guard Terminator model if you roll a 4 on the damage roll. It's just so unpredictable, you can't really count on it sometimes. Against vehicles you're getting 0.9 wounds on average, so just shy of averaging a single wound there, but it's still very probable. And again, it's that D6, so you just don't know where you stand with the damage against a vehicle. I mean, you could command reroll to get the damage higher if you needed to, but that's another expense entirely. So this option is more for the big stuff, monsters, vehicles, and maybe elite units with a lot of wounds. Not really worth firing this at your standard troops. Okay, on to the second option, which is your Hunter Killer Missile. It's only 5 points and it's a one use only weapon. Got a 48-inch range, heavy 1, strength 10, minus 2 AP, and the damage is D6. Again, it's got the range and the strength to follow suit, minus 2 AP or minus 3 AP in turn 1, so use it in turn 1 for sure. D6 damage again like the las cannon, so you could see a CP burned here. I'd take this if I'm fielding a Predator, if I'm honest. It's not too expensive, you may as well take it. The third option here is having an additional Storm Bolter for 5 points. 24-inch range, rapid fire 2, strength 4, no AP and 1 damage. They don't do much unless you're firing against weaker units within the game such as Orc Boys and Tyranids, as those kind of units have a really poor save. But against power armor it's not that great, I'd probably leave this one at home. Worth noting that Bolter Discipline does not apply to vehicles, so you will need to be within half range just to get the double shots off, which is really unlikely because you're a backline sort of unit. Now let's take a look at the Annihilator. A Predator Annihilator is equipped with a twin las cannon. So instead of having the auto cannon, you start off with the 2-shot las cannon as standard. We already know what a 2-shot las cannon does, so go back a little bit in the video to see how well that does. The upgrades are actually identical, so we've pretty much covered all of those weapons already. The only thing we've not really covered is having the twin las cannon and also opting to take the 2 las cannons at the side sponsons as well, so having a total of 4 las cannon shots, otherwise known as a las pred, which is quite a common loadout. Having 4 las cannon shots is obviously very strong. Again, don't waste this on troops unless it's a more urgent situation in the battle where you need to clear off that single intercessor from an objective. 4 shots will get you 2.7 hits on average and wounding vehicles and monsters on 3s, netting approximately 1.8 wounds. In turn 1 it's just in runs due to the Devastator Doctrine yet again. In other turns you could end up on a 6+ armor save if they began on a 3+. So you'd hope to get 2 wounds through and causing 2d6 wounds, so it has the potential of destroying a vehicle or a monster in a single turn. Now due to the limited shots, elite infantry I'd probably not go for with this loadout. Yes, you will kill a couple of expensive models, maybe Terminators, but if you miss or they make their in-run saves then it's a huge waste and you haven't made the most out of your weapons. Fire them at things that you know that will go boom, is the way I'd go with these. So in regards to both tank options, always take the side sponsons, otherwise you've virtually paid 130 points or 140 points effectively just to have a Razorback. There is another alternative unit in the book which is basically fielding a unit of Devastators all kitted out with las cannons, but that video comparison will be for another day. So we've talked weapons and let's talk Codex Synergy. Starting off with the chapters. Dark Angels is the first one to get a mention here. With their Grim Resolve, remaining stationary and shooting is a +1 to their hit roll, which is very effective, especially with your las cannon shots. Iron Hands being another solid option for your tank units, with the Flesh's weak tactics, giving a 6+ in-1 save, and also the unit is considered to have double the amount of wounds for the purposes of the damage table. So in order to be bracketed down to the lower bracket, which will give you a ballistic skill value of 4+, you'll need to be on only 2 wounds remaining, because if you had 3 it will double up to 6 and therefore you'll still be on your top bracket. In addition, in the first battle round you have Calculated Fury as your super doctrine, which allows you to reroll hit rolls of 1 that turn. Ultramarines are the third one of note here, with their Codex Discipline, which allows the tank to fall back and still shoot, although it will be at a -1 to hit. Now vehicles can shoot in combat, but only against units that are in combat with them. So if say a group of Orc Boys were in combat with your Predator, then firing 4 las cannons at them is not ideal. So if you're able to, you can fall back and shoot at a better target. Raven Guard is the last one of note here with Shadow Masters, which gives your tank the benefits of light cover if targeted by more than 18 inches away, so it will effectively have a 2+ armor save. Very nice. Looking into stratagems, Armor of Contempt for 1 CP, which gives your tank a 5+ feel no pain roll against mortal wounds. It's quite rare that you'll need this in your backline, but it's an option for you. The only other stratagem for the main codex is the Smokescreen stratagem, which grants enemy units a -1 to hit penalty if they're targeting your predators. So tactically speaking, not really much going on other than they stay back and they shoot. They're going to be in your backline. You're not going to be riding up the board with these kind of units. The Destructor is geared more towards elite infantry, and the Annihilator is more an anti-tank vehicle, although you could have both doing both jobs if you're say putting heavy bolters on them or the las cannons on the other. They are tough with toughness 7 and 11 wounds, but they're nowhere near invincible by any stretch, so you do not want these things caught in combat, as you're not kitted out to deal with a fight, especially with weapon skill 6. Now you can fight into combat with your weapons at a -1 to hit due to them being heavy, But the issue is you're not making use of those weapons because you're not selecting your prime targets. You're being forced to fire at targets with no value. So say for example a Necron Canoptic Scarab unit caught your tank in combat. That Scarab unit is only worth 45 points and it's got 12 wounds to chew through, so it's going to take you a few rounds at least to get them off your back, making the tank quite redundant, and you need to be firing with it every turn. So if you can screen it, do so, especially against enemy deep strike units. They'll love getting that 9-inch charge straight away onto your tank, and if you kit it out it could be 180 odd points, caught in combat with a 15-point Scarab unit in a game that's limited to only 5 turns. So it has an obvious weakness here. You can get yourself a Venerable Dreadnought for only 135 points, and you can also then add a twin las cannon on there for 20 points. But that thing has a strength 12 combat weapon that hits on 2s, and also has a Stormbolter or Heavy Flamer too. Now it's not as quick as a tank, but are you really moving your Predators when they've got a 48-inch range? Probably not. I think we're in a place in the game right now where Dreadnoughts are a much better investment than a tank due to the combat capabilities as well as the range attacks added. And also, like we mentioned, Devastators and other infantry based heavy sports like Eradicators are so good in the game right now that they're easily a much better option, and they also carry the core keyword too, like the Dreadnoughts. So they interact so much better with the codex. Now there is the option of taking a Tech Marine alongside your tanks just to keep repairing that D3 each time, or take a Master of Forge to be repairing 3 wounds each time, which isn't a bad option. They'll also grant your tank a +1 to hit with ranged weapons, which is pretty nice with your las cannons. They also provide the Lookout Sir for your Tech Marine as well. I'm a bit puzzled to why there are 2 Predator units within the book. They're virtually the same thing, it's just a weapon option that is different here. Also, oddly, the cheaper of the 2 I feel is the better one with the las cannons, as the autocannon has a bit of a poor AP. So I definitely take the Annihilator over the Destructor, but that's just down to personal choice. I'd also be a bit concerned about making my points back within the game. I don't think this kind of unit does make its points back. So as far as ratings go, both the Predator variants will be getting the same rating here, which is Planet 40k rating of 2.5 out of 5. There's just so many other better options within the codex: Dreadnoughts, heavy sport infantry units, and other tanks in general. Now these firstborn options seem to have slipped to the back of the line just like the Vindicator did in the previous edition. I also think it's quite poor when a basic Razorback transporter is almost the same as these tanks that we're talking about today. They're cheaper and you can also use it as a firstborn transport option as well. Let me know in the comments if you're fielding these kind of tanks, guys. Do you have any joy with them? Drop a like on your exits everyone, and sub if you are new, and don't forget to hit that notification bell just to be alerted when we drop a video. Thank you all for watching, and as always I'll see you in the next one.